Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Wonderful. My name is Marvin Carter, and I am Mercer County Community College's Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Today, it is my honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for the inauguration of Dr. Deborah E. Preston. Seated before you in academic regalia are members of MCCC's faculties, deans, and vice presidents, as well as representatives from local colleges and universities. A list of colleges and universities represented are on the program's insert. Leading the procession and carrying the mace was Mercer County Community College's own Professor of Political Science, Guy DeRosa. Sitting on the stage behind me are members of the college's Board of Trustees, Dr. Shannon Mason, Dr. Daryl Minus Vincent, Dr. Lawrence Nespoli, Mr. Gregory Politi, and Madeline Benowitz, Alumni Trustee. And our distinguished platform guests who will be speaking as a part of today's program. Ms. Christina Applegate, Vice Chair of Mercer County Community College's Board of Trustees. Mercer County Executive Brian Hughes, Ms. Pamela Price, Director and Associate Professor of Library Services here at Mercer County. Dr. Joseph Roach, Sterling Professor Emeritus of Theater and Professor Emeritus of English at Yale University. Dr. Gary Scudder, Professor of History at Champlain College. Dr. Elena Sines, Associate Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at Montgomery College. And finally, Dr. Monisha Parrish Trent, Vice President, Network Engagement at Achieving the Dream. Many thanks to our musicians, Mercer County Community Faculty Trio, Joe Falsey on drums, Jim Halton on piano, and Scott Hornick on bass for their pre-procession performance. They were up there. I would also like to welcome the sign language interpreters for today's ceremony, Adrian Adamo and Jennifer Restucci Smith. Thank you for your assistance. By way of announcement, just a quick reminder, please silence all cell phones, put them on vibrate, or turn it off. I would ask that everyone please rise for the national anthem, which will be performed by Mercer County Community student Isabel Pluchino.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land
Thank you, Isabel. So now, welcome to the inauguration of the 7th president of Mercer County Community College, Dr. Deborah E. Preston. I would like to take a moment to recognize a few special guests who are in attendance today. Mercer County Board of County Commissioners, Lucille Walter, Samuel Frisbee, Kristen McLaughlin, and Nina Melker. From the Assembly, we have Assemblyman Daniel Benson and Assemblyman Anthony Varelli. Mercer County Clerk, Paula Cavello. East Windsor Mayor, Janice Mironov. Hamilton Mayor, Jeff Martin. The Mayor of Trenton, Mr. Reed Guciara. Trenton City Council President, Teska Frisbee. And finally, Aaron Fickner, President of New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Now I would like to introduce you to Trustee Vice Chair Kristen Applegate, who brings greetings from Mercer County Community College College Board of Trustees. Trustee Applegate joined the board in July 2022 and has served as the Vice Chair since November of 2022. Trustee Applegate is Assistant Vice President of Community and Regional Affairs at Princeton University, where she oversees the university's relationships with the municipalities and counties in which the university resides, and works extensively on municipal and regional issues related to transportation, sustainability, economic development, land use, planning, and zoning. Trustee Applegate is a past recipient of the 40 Under 40 Award from NJ Biz and an active volunteer with many community organizations.
Thank you. Thank you, Marvin. Welcome, faculty, staff, administrators, fellow trustees, delegates representing other institutions, special guests, and of course, President Preston. I am honored to be here with you all today for such an important and joyous occasion. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I extend our gratitude to you all for the support that your presence here today reflects for our faculty, staff, and students here at Mercer County Community College. The Board of Trustees volunteers their time and talents to enhance the mission of the college. We are so excited that Dr. Preston agreed to lead this great institution, and we have faith that she has the skills to take MCCC to the next level. The success of this institution is measured in how we serve our students and our community, and we are so pleased to have so many representatives from our campus community and the larger Mercer County community here with us to celebrate this important milestone. I now have the privilege to introduce to you all Mercer County Executive Brian Hughes. County Executive since 2004, Mr. Hughes has led Mercer County with skill and passion, whether it's creating jobs, stabilizing taxes, or building a more inclusive and responsive government. Mr. Hughes has never been afraid to tackle difficult projects and tough issues, and he does it while adhering to the highest standard of ethics. Mr. Hughes is a strong advocate for the students of Mercer County and of Mercer County Community College. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Brian M. Hughes.
Thank you, Kristen, for reading it exactly the way I wrote it. I want to say your check will be in the mail tomorrow morning, I guarantee you. I want to say good afternoon to you all. This is a great day for Mercer County and for our community college. Having the opportunity to work with Dr. Preston since she began her duties last summer, it's clear that the Board of Trustees made an intelligent choice. Dr. Preston has shown a willingness and determination to tackle whatever comes her way as she has gotten to know the college's campuses, its faculties, and its students, and the administration that works with her every day. I am confident she is the right person to move this college forward. I congratulate Dr. Preston on her inauguration and look forward to continuing to work with her to expand the college's role in helping students achieve their academic and career goals. I just want to say we have a lot of officials in the audience, a lot of our commissioners who help fund this great college. But I do want to point out Mayor Gusciora, who plays host to the other campus of Mercer County Community College, a college that is so important to the people of Trenton, New Jersey, but to the economic activity of Trenton, New Jersey. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. With that, Dr. Preston, I just want to say it makes my heart full to know that you're here working day in and day out, achieving the things you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you, County Executive Hughes. I would now like to introduce Pamela Price, who is Mercer County Community College's Director and Associate Professor of Library Services. Ms. Price has been a member of the college community since 1981 and currently serves as the Director of Library Services over 4 campus libraries and co-coordinator of the college's Student Success and Personal Wellness course. I'm reading what's up here. She serves on numerous college communities and committees, including chairing the OER Task Force, co-chairing the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, and serving on curriculum committees, just to name a few. Additionally, she is a member of the American Library Association, the New Jersey Virtual Academic Library Consortium of Administrators, NJ-Vail, and she serves as an evaluator for the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools. It is my pleasure to present Ms. Pamela Price.
We'll talk after this. We'll talk. Greetings, distinguished guests, friends, colleagues, students, alumni, and our new president. I humbly speak on behalf of the faculty and staff of Mercer County Community College. Since the college's earliest inception in 1890 as Trenton's evening drawing school, with only 10 students, archival records document faculty and staff dedication as the singular strength that has sustained the college to today. Faculty and staff have a rich history of working with the president to write the future chapters of this college's history and successes. Although at times our path to institutional stewardship from within has been complex and not without a few trials and tribulations. Those times have not dampened the sense of pride faculty and staff have in our work and our steadfast efforts in service on behalf of our students and service to our community. Even confronted with challenging enrollments and budgetary uncertainties, Mercer's legacy to thrive is marked by a faculty and staff whose immeasurable spirit is evident every day on behalf of students and to meet the needs of the community. Based on the excellence of the faculty and the dedication of the staff, it is essential to acknowledge this integral heart of Mercer. It is at this core where our values rest as the springboard to the transformative educational goals needed to build pathways in and from this institution. Moreover, faculty and staff are poised to participate with our new president in growing the future of Mercer. We look forward to working with President Preston to utilize our strengths and talents to translate and energize ideas and plans for collective action to chart a path with clarity of vision. We enthusiastically await what will appear in the evolving, bear with me now, I am a librarian, dare I say the potential bestseller book called The Book of Mercer County Community College, with the newest chapters authored by our 7th president, Dr. Deborah Preston. In that process, we look forward with trust and confidence that her leadership will result in chapters that define us as a 21st century college. We expect to read chapters reflective of the patience, humility, and pragmatic wisdom such a leadership challenge requires to reach such enormous aspirations. Foremost is our anticipation of the chapter that illustrates her presidential foresight and guidance so we can achieve the ideals embedded in our mission. To paraphrase the author and poet Zora Neale Hurston, who spoke of one of her characters who miraculously and unexpectedly found a jewel. Yes, Dr. Preston, you too, by virtue of your presidency, now embrace the green and gold jewel that is Mercer County Community College. And finally, in closing, I quote the poet Gwendolyn Brooks, who said, "We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond." Congratulations, Dr. Preston. We warmly welcome you to Mercer County Community College.
Now, please, once more, stand as we have another vocal performance from our Mercer County community student, Ave Corbett, who will be performing Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. God of our ears, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep stray from the places our God where we met thee. Lest our hearts drunk from the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you, Ave. Now I will once again introduce Trustee Vice Chair Applegate to the podium again for the focal point of today's ceremony, the inauguration of Dr. Deborah E. Preston as 7th President of Mercer County Community College.
Thank you, Marvin. A new president is a landmark in an institution's history and therefore a time for celebration. Today's ceremony provides an opportunity for the college community to join our new president in creating the future for our students in this institution. I'd like to invite Dr. Deborah Preston to join me now at the podium. It is my pleasure, in the presence of this official gathering, to formally induct the new president of Mercer County Community College into office. Dr. Preston, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, I commit to your hands the vision of the college, which states that Mercer County Community College is a vital college, engaged with its community, and dedicated above all else to student success. We now present you with this presidential medallion and charge you on behalf of the Board of Trustees to lead this college with vision and courage, building on the success of all who went before you in its 50-year history and in service of those who will come after. We are proud and happy to greet you as the president of Mercer County Community College. Today is a day of celebration as we look to you, Dr. Preston, to encourage, strengthen, and inspire all who enter the halls of this institution. MCCC offers unique educational opportunities to the residents of Mercer County and beyond. We commend the responsibility to nurture and enrich this institution to you. Mercer County Community College has a bright and exciting future, a future that we know you will enhance with your intelligence, humility, and humor. We exist in a rapidly changing environment for higher education, and we on the Board of Trustees are confident, Dr. Preston, in your ability to lead us boldly as a community through these exciting times by building on past success and drawing upon the talents of our faculty, staff, and students. Ladies, one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you the 7th President of Mercer County Community College, Deborah Preston.
I think we are all shocked at the fact that now she's the president. So congratulations again, Dr. Preston. I would like to take a moment to welcome Elizabeth Arsasa to the stage to perform Mercer's alma mater.
Today we sing our alma mater. haughty race. As we go forth, our minds prepared to seek a life that no one can foretell. In years to come we shall remember you, Mercer College that served us so well. For generations you have given us education and goals we may attain. Throughout Mercer County's historic lands, let us sing out this grateful refrain. Today we give our thanks to you for service that you render young and old. We pledge ourselves to always honor you, Mercer College, green and gold.
Thank you, Liz. Dr. Preston has invited two special guests to give congratulatory remarks. Her dissertation advisor, Dr. Joseph Roach, and a former colleague, Dr. Gary Scudder. Speaking first will be Dr. Roach.
Thank you, Marvin. Liz and Ave, you're really tough acts to follow. But don't worry, I'm not going to sing. Madam President, for so you are officially now. Delegates, members of the board, distinguished fellow speakers, faculty, students, staff, family members, and friends. You have honored me by inviting me to congratulate Dr. Deborah Preston on the occasion of her inauguration as the 7th president of Mercer County Community College. Let me begin by congratulating you for making such an outstanding appointment. Go Vikings! 30 years ago, when I was brand new in my appointment as professor of English at Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, you, Dr. Preston, were an advanced graduate student. You asked to meet with me to discuss the possibility of my directing your dissertation on modern and contemporary American drama. After a few minutes' lively conversation, it was easy to be persuaded to agree. Your preparation for our meeting was thorough and well-informed. Your proposal, cogent. Your academic record, outstanding. Your plan of work, organized. We had a memorably exciting colloquy about American playwrights who were then making important contributions, but who had not thus far received serious critical attention, an excellent choice of topic. Your proposal on that day became the distinguished dissertation that you went on to research and write, and it was your Tulane doctorate that launched your career in community college teaching and administration. Your progress through the ranks, professor, dean, provost, academic VP, has been marked by success at every level, making the most of each opportunity and meeting every challenge from your first year of teaching to this moment, the joyfully auspicious occasion we celebrate today. But I would be remiss if I did not recount the shocking visitation that interrupted our otherwise dignified first conference in my office. You may or may not recall, Madam President, but I will never forget that our meeting went momentarily off the rails when it was unceremoniously crashed by the surprised appearance of your pet ferret. It's true. Having escaped its assigned place of confinement in your book bag, This sleek marauder appeared suddenly over the edge of my desk, unannounced and unbidden. But even then, in that moment of crisis, even as an ABD graduate student, you demonstrated the calmly self-possessed good sense, measured judgment, and powers of persuasion that have allowed you to keep your composure when everyone else around you, in that instance, namely me, was losing theirs. Gently talking me down from the window ledge, you patiently explained what great pets ferrets make. Packing the maximum of fun-loving and affectionate intelligence in the smallest of containers, you enthused, and requiring less care and feeding than dogs or even cats. They are also highly portable. You can take them with you anywhere. I chose to take your word for it, Madam President, and we chose to work together after all. Good choices, I think it's fair to say, as things turned out. I know that I pressed you hard as your advisor. More sources, deeper revisions, all of it. I suspect that for a time you might have wished that your trusty ferret had done me in right there. But I knew how good you could be, and I wanted to make sure you reached that goal. From that day forward, I have watched with admiration as your career as scholar, teacher, and administrator has flourished. Word is that you left every place you led better for the service that you rendered there, thanks to your exceptional talents, practical acumen, and visionary leadership. Before I conclude, however, there remains a piece of unfinished business between the two of us. When you were graduated with your doctorate from Tulane, you were not able to attend the commencement because of a family emergency, the untimely death of your mother. Then, decked out in all the academic regalia like this that you see here, I was unable to say to you what I customarily, in 3 words, say to my doctoral advisees when they cross the stage to get their degrees and I shake their hands, because on that day your place in the line was empty. So I said those 3 words silently in my heart, hoping somehow you would hear me, and evidently you did. By way of valediction, I will say them again now, this time out loud, officially, to you and all the conscientiously mentored leaders and leaders-to-be here assembled. Pass it on. Let me close then by confessing how humbly grateful I am for the privilege of being here to tell everyone and to tell you how proud I am of you. Humble in the certainty that as a community college president, you will be able to do more good for more people in a given month or even in one good week than I have done in a whole career. Proud in the recognition that of all you have accomplished and for what you will yet accomplish, with the support of everyone in attendance today and all those others who make it possible. Above all, the support of the Mercer students who give you and everyone else the many reasons why, at least 7,000 of them every day. They are counting on you, Madam President. In choosing you, I say again, they have chosen well, and in choosing them, I'm confident, so have you.
Pass it on. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Gary Scudder. Dr. Gary Scudder is a professor of history at Champlain College in Burlington, Vermont. And over the years, he's held a number of positions, including Assistant Dean of Global Engagement at Champlain, Assistant Dean of Curriculum at Zayed University in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and Director of Interdisciplinary Studies at Georgia Perimeter College in Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Scudder has a long interest in global education, including founding and running Champlain's award-winning Global Modules program and leading a dozen student trips to locations such as Jordan, India, and Zanzibar. He's currently finishing, grinding slowly, a book on several epics of world literature. Dr. Gary Scudder.
You had to make me follow that. Seriously, I mean, that is so cruel. I guess first I just want to say thank you, sincerely, honestly, thank you for welcoming me into your family today. Debbie knows that I hate public speaking with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns. And I think she's been sitting here for like 30 years on a grudge. Just for this moment. But having said that, I'm actually happy to be here, remarkably happy, not only in support of my most excellent friend, but also because I'm a huge believer and supporter of the community college mission. That's where my life began. When I finished my doctorate, I moved to Atlanta and taught for 9 years at Georgia Perimeter College, which is where I met your excellent president more years ago than we really want to admit to. I know how hard it is. I'm not delusional. I know the challenges you guys face every day, but this is where the real work is. This is where the real teaching is. These are where the real victories are won, and I have nothing but admiration for you, and I just appreciate you welcoming me here today. I had a lot more, actually, but Debbie made me drop it, much to the chagrin of Deanie, who'd fed me a bunch of anti-Debbie material, because she thought this was a roast, which kind of ruined it for me. I know you would not guess from my sort of beaming youthful countenance, but I've been doing this for a long time. And a couple of years ago, I tried to calculate how many students I'd taught directly over the years, and it's like well over 5,000 students, which is a lot of damage based on faulty pedagogy over the years. And sometimes students will say, what was your absolute favorite teaching experience? Because they always think I'm going to say them there at that moment, which of course is delusional on their part. But when I feel like answering their question, I give them the same answer I have given everybody for the last 30 years who asks exactly the same question, and that is the classes I taught with Debbie at Georgia Perimeter College 30 years ago. We somehow, I came in 91, she came in 92, we were sort of young Turks, freshly minted, and somehow we convinced the college to let us link our classes together in these lovely 90-minute sessions twice a week that we could break up no matter how we wanted to break them up. So we would do my world civilization class and her world literature class, and some days I would start with the history, and some days she would do the literature first, vice versa, and then at the end we'd sort of bring everybody together and integrate what we had learned. As one student famously said, essentially it's Scudder leading a discussion about history for 50 minutes, then we take a break. Then Preston leads a discussion about literature for 50 minutes, and then we take a break. And then the two of them fight like an old married couple for 45 minutes. Essentially, it was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. And I think it's because we were just teaching, like we were pushing the students, we were pushing each other, we were pushing ourselves. You know, as my younger colleagues who are more, I guess, theoretically driven, I guess we were making meaning every day, and it was extraordinary. And I tell you this because I think I want to share 3 things that I learned about her from that experience. The first is this, and I didn't actually know this until that moment. Apparently, you can live for weeks on end solely on Pop-Tarts, which I didn't know until I met Debbie. The countless times I visited her over the years, her directions at a certain point is the Pop-Tarts are on the second shelf. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this information, mainly because I don't really understand the New Jersey Penal Code's view on bribery. But I'm just saying, keep Pop-Tarts in your office because you may use them someday to your benefit. Secondly, and much more importantly, and this is something I really want you to know, Debbie is a really, really, really good teacher. She was 30 years ago. I know she still is today. She's smart, quick, understands students. She's the first person I knew who would know every student's name on the first day, which I thought was sort of a kind of madness. It takes me like 6 weeks, and I still have this vague sense of, I always say, oh, trouble, which they think is a nickname, which means I have no idea who you are. But she, of course, knows on day one. I learned so much from her that early on, just about how one plans a course, how you plan an assignment, where you put assignments in the course of the semester. I say this simply because you have to understand that her career was not from day one to be sitting there right now. She entered this profession for the same reason we entered it. We want to teach, but we want to live the life of the mind. I can remember her first administrative job. We would sit in her office, and she would sit there in near tears and say, why won't they do what I tell them to? I'm like, well, you didn't last semester. Focus. And just keep that in mind, because she understands what you're doing. She understands the challenges you face. And I will actually give you a charge, Madam President, and that is this. You should teach a class occasionally, because not only you're a great teacher, but also to remind you what the workers in the vineyards are doing, and it's good for your soul. So always remember that. She is actually a very good teacher. Finally, I guess I would remind that she is, or almost finally, to say that there's a point in my speeches is to say that there's a point to a Murakami novel. There's something like a point to it if you hang around long enough. The other thing I want to say about her is, and this struck me from day one when we worked together, what a friend and a supporter and an advocate she was from day one. Writing letters for me, even when she wrote and supported me when I was leaving Atlanta for the wilderness of Vermont. And I know she didn't really want her friend to go, but she, being a good soul, wrote lovely letters. She's written letters for me then. She's given me advice on writing. She's even financially supported a nonprofit that I run. She has been an extraordinary supportive person, and she will be an advocate to you as well. Don't think of her as simply the cold boss at the top who says no, because sometimes I guess you have to say no. I mean, politics is the art of the possible, but I know she will be an advocate to you, and I want you to know those three things. The last thing I'll say very briefly is this. When I was thinking about when she asked me to do this, foolishly on her part, I was thinking about our time together in Georgia, and I remember this really odd little event. We were at Georgia Perimeter College, and like most community colleges, of course, you have branches every place, and we were teaching way out northeast of Atlanta, but occasionally we'd have to go downtown. And I think we were going down to the central campus for a faculty senate meeting. It's something I can't believe that we were both on the faculty senate ever, let alone at the same time. But, she drove from wherever she was living and I drove down. But I had my son with me, who at the time was like 5. And by the way, Madam President, he's now 35 and engaged. Not to make you feel old, but... And so we're there, and of course my son sort of puts up with the faculty senate meeting, probably more graciously than Debbie and I put up with the faculty senate meeting, because at least he had crayons. And at the end we're leaving, and we're waving at her, and I said, okay, be safe, as one says in Atlanta. And we're sitting there, and my son and I talk to a couple people, then we get in the car, and about a mile away we see Debbie's car on the side of the road. And we're like, oh. So we pull over, and she'd been in a fender bender. And she was fine, it was no big deal. So we pull over to see her, except that my son is kind of indignant about the entire thing. So he comes up to her and says, my dad told you to be safe. Why did you not be safe? Like he publicly, lectured her in the middle of the afternoon next to a. The reason why I tell this story is I'm going to use that to piggyback and give you some advice, be safe, Madam President. And that is this. Today is lovely. Today will fade. Days will become weeks. Weeks will become months. Months will become years. This speech becomes a Dickens novel. But no matter how far removed you are from this moment, I want you to remember this day. I charge you to remember this day. Yes, remember the solemnity. Yes, remember the laughs, the tears, the bad introductory speeches, which seem to be roaming around aimlessly. But mainly what I want you to remember is the potential and the promise of this day. This college chose you because they thought that you had something to offer to them. And you chose this college because you thought it had something to give you. You made a promise to each other. And years in the future, when you're sitting there and you're at your 10th meeting of the day and you're just done, think back to this moment, take a breath, remember why we're here, and work a little harder. Beyond that, all I have to say is, Red, I love you. I'm proud of you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Drs. Roach and Scudder. I think I join everyone's thinking process in saying, Dr. Scudder, please come back and narrate anything and Dr. Roach, please come back and narrate anything and everything. You have a wonderful voice. Thank you so much. Now the reason we are all here. Please welcome to the podium the 7th president of Mercer County Community College, Dr. Deborah E. Preston.
Thank you all for being here. I would like to start out with, if you'll indulge me, some recognitions and acknowledgments and shout outs to the folks who are here. So, and you've been sitting there a while, so maybe if you want to stand up when your group is called, that'll help us all get through this last few minutes, right? So first of all, I would like to give my sincere thanks to everyone who made this event possible. I know that the maintenance people, the grounds people, the housekeeping people all worked hard to get the campus and the buildings ready for this day. So thank you to that team. I want to thank the team here in the theater and in the conference center, people who have been working on this for quite some time and have done everything they can to accommodate, to make it comfortable for the audience, and to make it a great day. So thank you to Kitty and Jessica and the teams at the conference center and the theater. So thank you. Big thank you to what we unofficially called the Inauguration Committee. It was led by my fearless assistant and friend, Lynette McCarthy. And yes, and I believe in the program there is a list of a long list of folks from all areas of the college who helped to make this possible, to make the day a special day. So thank you to all of them. Sorry, I know. It's a lot of applause, but it's important. I want to thank the students and faculty who worked on the music, the vocal performances, the photography, the video streaming. Thank you. I appreciate your contributions and your talents more than I can say. And then, I'd just like to do a few shout outs. People can just wave. But I would like to just say thank you so much to my fellow presidents. You guys, I know we've acknowledged you, but thank you for being here. This is a group that has made me feel so welcome and so supported. And so I appreciate your being here and look forward to your continued support because I know I'm going to need it. So thank you. And if you are a faculty member at this fine institution, in regalia or not, could you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you for being here. And if you are a staff member or an administrator at this fine institution, in regalia or not, could you please stand up and be recognized? Leadership team. Thank you for being here and for your support. Couple more groups, and I swear I'll get to something different. If you are part of what I like to call the Montgomery College diaspora, folks I met in Montgomery County or at Montgomery College, we were deans and directors together back in the day. Could you please stand up and just wave? Got a lot of people here. Thank you for supporting me then and for coming to support me now. I have a few friends and colleagues here in the room from Raritan Valley Community College, which was my last gig. If you would either stand or wave, thank you. It was hard to leave those friends behind. I thank them for being here to support me. We recognize some VIP elected officials, but we have a lot of community leaders in the room. So if you are here because you are a community leader, an education leader, a nonprofit leader, a faith leader, anyone in this room who is part of our greater Mercer County community that is here because you care about the success of community college, please, can you stand up and be recognized? Thank you. Thank you. We debated calling out about 100 names, but I just want everyone to know how much I appreciate your being here and your support. When I see people in this room, I really don't see them, and yes, thank you for coming to support me, but what I see is a room full of people who care about the success of our college and our students. So if you'll indulge me for one more minute, I'm going to introduce some important friends and family who have come from near and far to support me. And I'm going to try to introduce them in the order of how long they have known me, although I understand there's one debate over there, but I may get this wrong. So first of all, I would like to thank my dad, Ed Preston. Who is accompanied by my wonderful stepmom, Judy Preston. She's very shy. She doesn't want to stand. And she hasn't known me quite as long as some of the others, but she gets to go in the group with my dad. That seems fair, right? Because she's been a great, great stepmom. And then going in order, the next person I have known the longest is my sister, Deanie Preston. Some of you know, but many of you don't, that Deanie and I adopted children together 20-something years ago and have co-parented for all these years and are still co-parenting because the children apparently continue to need parenting, apparently forever is what I'm told. So, cool. Oh, don't glare at me. And then in order of and then I think the next person who I have known the longest is my dear friend, Mr. Shannon Jackson, whom I met in first grade. In Gray, Georgia, and yes, I'm admitting that in public, in Gray, Georgia, and who has just been my friend ever since. And you know, it's funny how we were in school together, and then we lost touch for a little while, and then you can say all the bad things you want to say about Facebook, but it got us back together, and we have been able to reconnect, and he came all the way from Atlanta to be here for this day, so yeah. And then this is where the debate was. My cousin is here, and I realized that she's younger than I had remembered. Like, I couldn't remember how old I was when she was born, but my cousin, Miss Michelle Cobb, is here. Also from Atlanta, but apparently born after I was in first grade. And then next, in terms of knowing me the longest, are my two beautiful, smart, and funny, and just amazing daughters, Margaret Preston and Lenora Preston. You just wave. No? Yeah, they don't want to stand up and be seen. They didn't get that gene. And then also a special thanks to my dear spouse, Ben Nicholson. Who is absolutely a saint. You know, imagine marrying a woman who's already sort of married to her sister and has two children, and then finding out that, you know, really she's going to be a college administrator before she's anything else. So yeah, he's been very kind. So that's what I want to say, and then I will start my actual speech, and I'm gonna try to keep it together. But I have something important to say to my family, and that is thank you. Because this work has taken me away from my family many, many times. It has taken me to other countries for short and longer periods of time. Back in the day when I did study abroad, it's taken me away for fellowships for weeks, months, half a year at a time. Most recently, it took me to Maryland for 5 years when the rest of my family, to Raritan Valley for 5 years when the rest of my family was still in Maryland. And what is so amazing about my family is that they have never, ever made me feel like I had to choose between my family and the work that I love. So I just want to say thank you, and to make sure you know that as much as I do love this work, I will always love you guys more. So thank you. Okay. When I began thinking about this inaugural address, I took an informal poll, not vetted by a psychometrist. Y'all know I love that word, psychometrist, to find out what I was supposed to say. And I was told that I should discuss my vision for Mercer County Community College. And I thought, oh no. That is very fraught with danger. I try not to make promises I can't keep. And if anybody thinks I'm going to stand up here and talk about by what percentage we're going to increase enrollment, or how many buildings we're going to add to the campus, or how many parking places we're adding to James Kearney campus, I do have ideas about the parking places. No, I am not getting up here and making those kinds of promises. But, you know, I reflected about this a little more deeply. And I realized I do have a clear and compelling vision for Mercer County Community College. But it's not so much about what we're going to do, it's about how we're going to do it and why. So, I would like to start with a little story about Dr. Roach. You know, payback is, you know, turnaround is fair play. No, this is a really different kind of story. This is a story I shared at his retirement event a few years back, and I hope you won't mind my sharing it again in a slightly different context. So this story goes back to, I was a 29-year-old department chair of a fairly large English department at a fairly large campus of about 7,000 students back at Georgia Perimeter College in Atlanta. I was also trying to finish my dissertation and my PhD. And I would periodically visit Tulane to talk to Joe about my progress, get his advice. And at the end of one of these meetings, not the ferret meeting, I have no memory of that, I think he made that up. At the end of one of these meetings, he says, "So, how's the department chair thing going?" And I took a deep breath and I said, "Actually, it's going great. And I'm a little terrified that they might make me a dean." And I was terrified because it's no small thing for a young academic to tell her genius dissertation advisor that she might not be following exactly in his scholarly footsteps, if you see what I'm saying. And I wasn't quite sure how he was going to react. But what he said to me, and I have told him this, what he said to me profoundly affected the trajectory of my entire career. Because what he said to me at that moment was, there's more than one way to change the world. There's more than one way to change the world. So that's a message that has become part of my personal philosophy. And so it really now will serve as my central vision for Mercer County Community College. We are going to change the world, and we're going to find more than one way to do it. So if you'll stick with me, I'm just going to explore just 3 of the many ways that I think we have precious opportunities to be a force for positive change and good, okay? Ways to change the world, number 1. Mercer County Community College has the opportunity, the privilege, and the moral responsibility to change the world by being an institution that truly believes in education for all. Now, you're probably thinking, I woke up this morning and I Googled community college, and it said, education for all. But that's not what I mean. Stick with me. Colleges and universities all believe in education for someone. Some believe in education for a select group, some for a larger group, but a lot of us, unfortunately, believe in education for other people. And I think what's important, and let me say one other thing about that. So we hear that education is the great equalizer. We've all heard that. And that usually means that if we educate people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, that they can use that education to climb out of poverty and achieve success. And there's nothing wrong with that. I still tear up when I think about that commercial from the 70s about a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Do you guys remember that commercial? Oh my God, don't watch it. It's on YouTube. It's just as, yeah. But education will never be an equalizer until we realize that we have to educate everyone. We have to educate the privileged as well as the underprivileged. We have to educate the oppressor as well as the oppressed. We have to educate ourselves. Because if we don't know the disadvantages and the advantages of neurodiversity, if we don't know the physiological impact of stereotype threat, or the difference between segregation and redlining, then we are trying to educate from a position of ignorance. And education cannot be an equalizer in that situation. My vision for MCCC is that we will not only recognize achievement gaps and opportunity gaps amongst our students, but we'll also recognize gaps in our own education and gaps in the knowledge of those in power. Big P, little p, anyone with power. And that we'll take active steps to discover new information and spread the knowledge that our society needs to be a better place. Ways to change the world, number 2. We are going to change the world by being an institution that hears and speaks the truth. Another personal story. I was a freshman in college, theater major at Florida State University. I had a professor named Dr. John Dagan. Now, you have to picture Dr. Dagan. He was a deathly pale, chain-smoking acolyte of Oscar Brockett. That's for the theater people, if you know who Oscar Brockett is, right? So everyone, grad students, undergrads, had to take play analysis with Dr. John Dagan. And you had to write a paper about every play you read. So roughly 2 short papers a week, all right? And the thing that annoyed me the most was that I thought the assignment was really vague, because the assignment was something like, analyze an important or interesting aspect of the play. And he wouldn't give you a grade. You had to come to his office and talk about your paper. So I'm at my first conference in John's office, and he says to me, okay, you have to picture this. This is back in the day. You could smoke inside, right? He's smoking. He's like, Preston. He called us all by our last name. Preston, you write very well. Well, this is no surprise to 18-year-old me. I had been told by lots of college professors that I write very well. I did write very well. And then he goes on, in fact, you write so well, for a minute there, I almost thought you said something. Excuse me? So after I got over my shock and my sense of profound insult, I realized what an amazing gift he had offered me. The gift of truth. The gift of caring about me enough as a human being and a student and a scholar to push me to be smarter, to think more critically, to do better. There's another man in this room who did the same thing. Drove me just about crazy, but it worked, right? It made me better. So John Dagan became one of my favorite professors. One of the reasons I decided it was okay to be a teacher and a scholar instead of a professional actor. Sometime I'll tell you the story about how I accidentally got tenure for him at Florida State. This is a great story. Anyway, we at MCCC need to be ready to hear the truth so that we can do better. If our data shows that our students are not graduating at a rate that we can be proud of, or if students in certain demographic groups are not graduating at the same rate as their peers, we need to hear that truth. If students tell us that we're erecting unnecessary barriers to success or making them feel unwanted on campus, we need to hear that truth. If we know that our methods for onboarding, advising, teaching, or supporting our students could be better, we need to speak that truth. We have to be unafraid to acknowledge our shortcomings and admit our failures, secure in the knowledge that even brilliant ideas do not always succeed. It is okay to fail, and we are solving problems together. Ways to change the world, number 3. We are going to change the world by being a model of inclusion, a safe haven for the misunderstood, the marginalized, and the heretofore rejected members of our community. I'm proud to say that Mercer County Community College embraced this vision well before I arrived on the scene. You've met the brilliant Marvin Carter, our DEI director. He's making good progress, but we know we have work to do. And we are going to do that work with passion and purpose. One last personal story. When I was in elementary school, I was watching the Sonny and Cher show with my dad. He probably doesn't remember. I've never talked to him about this. He may not remember this. I was watching the Sonny and Cher show, which I make no apologies for. All right. Oh, and just one other footnote. This memory is apocryphal because I have Googled and I cannot find this particular episode, but it is in my head, okay? And their special guest was, you guessed it, David Bowie. Y'all knew I was going to get David Bowie in here somehow. And he was in whichever David Bowie phase he was in. Weird hair, weird makeup, weird clothes, doesn't matter which phase. And I remember asking my dad, why does he look like that? And Mr. Ed Preston says to me, because he doesn't want to be like everybody else. He wants to stand out from the crowd to be himself. Now, can you imagine if every little girl's dad told her it was okay, even good, to be a little weird and not fit in? What a great place this would be. So here at Mercer Community College, we are here for you if you are that individual who doesn't fit in anywhere else. And we are also here for you if you are part of a larger group, no longer in the minority, but traditionally marginalized from higher education, disenfranchised from the economy, faced with barrier after barrier when trying to claim success. Roughly 60% of our students are students of color. If these students don't succeed, then we have not succeeded. And the first step for success is for every student, every community member, to know deep down that they are safe and welcome at MCCC. Physically safe, psychologically safe, intellectually safe, thanks to some of my colleagues who helped me put that into words. I'm just going to be real. I hear a lot of commentary about folks not feeling safe at the Trenton campus, in spite of the stellar work of our security team at JKC. Any of them out there? Shout out. I don't know how safe the Trenton students feel at the West Windsor campus. I mean, I hope they feel safe. We have an excellent security team here also. But we need to be asking those questions. Do you feel safe at both campuses, regardless of who you are? So we need to ask the following questions of all of our students. Do you feel safe? Do you feel welcome? Do you feel represented? And do you feel loved? If we can create a college where the answer to every one of those questions is yes, then we are changing the world for the better. So I will close by admitting that the most difficult part of changing the world is the change part, especially in higher education. Look at these outfits we're wearing. Latest and greatest from the 13th century. But as the pandemic proved, we can change, and we can change quickly. So let's think about the words of playwright and theorist Bertolt Brecht, or perhaps the words of one of his uncredited female collaborators, but hard to say. The quote is, "Change the world, it needs it." As a community college, we have that potential. As Mercer County Community College, let's turn that potential into power. I invite you all to join me in changing the world for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, President Preston, for your impassioned vision for Mercer County Community College. Delivering the closing elevation today are Dr. Elena Saenz of Montgomery College and Dr. Monica Parrish Trent of Achieving the Dream, titled El Poema de la Educación, the Education Poem.
Love you, Debbie. La Poema de Educación, por Gabriela Mistral. La educación es una flor que se abre en el corazón de las mujeres y de los hombres, y es la perfuma de la vida.
Education is a flower that blooms in the hearts of men and women and gives them the perfume of life and wisdom.
La educación es la luz que alumbra el camino de conocimiento y de verdad, y es la fuerza para enfrentar todos los problemas.
Education is the light that illuminates the path of knowledge and truth and gives them the strength to face trials.
La educación es el árbol que crece en la tierra y en la mente y en el alma. Y es la fruta de éxito y de felicidad.
Education is the tree that grows in the fertile soil and mind and soul and gives them the fruit of success and happiness.
La educación es el mar que fue en la corriente del tiempo y de la historia. Y es la de lo que da poder para transformar el mundo.
Education is the sea that flows in the current of time and history and gives them the power to transform the world.
Felicidades, doctora Preston.
Congratulations, Dr. Preston. We love you.
Thank you, Dr. Sines and Dr. Trent. Thank you to our distinguished speakers and guests, to our faculty and staff for taking part in this historic occasion of Mercer County Community College. After the recessional is complete, you are all invited to the reception in the atrium here in Mercer's beautiful conference center. I look forward to seeing you there. Please remain seated while the platform party departs, followed by our road faculty, staff, guests, and trustees. I don't know either. All right. She chose.
I've been grinding so long, been trying this shit for years. And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life now. All my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting for this moment. It's good to be alive right about now.